I thought it was just gonna be a regular day, but evidently it went sideways. I almost lost my life.
Keep talking, bro. Keep talking. Go ahead. Keep talking. Keep talking.
The male that got 20, he's in vehicle number 34734.
How are you, bro?
Okay, the male that got 20, he's in vehicle number 34734.
Do you at all remember how you felt when they told you that Vaughn had died?
I mean, it was just so much. Like I just got shot in the head, and you know everything. Then I had people telling me stuff, so I was just putting stuff together.
It's crazy how that one night when King Von died completely changed O'Block forever. It's like a domino effect. Almost everyone involved in that situation either ended up dead or in jail. And now, the latest name to be added to that tragic list is O'Block Louie. If you don't know who O'Block Louie was, he was one of King Von's closest associates. In fact, on the night Von was offed, Louie was ready to risk it all. He didn't hesitate, didn't care about his own life, and definitely wasn't worried about the cops already being on high alert. The moment he saw Quando Rondo's SUV, he let off shots.
Get on the ground. I ain't moving. Look, I'm too scared, please. Bro, watch him. Watch him.
But that decision came with a heavy price. Louie got shot in the head that night, and while he survived, he was never the same again. That bullet left him with a permanent injury, and it was a miracle he even made it through.
Keep talking, bro. Keep talking.
Go ahead.
Keep talking. Keep talking.
The male that got 20, he's in vehicle number 34734.
How are you, bro?
Okay, the male that got 20, he's in vehicle number 34734.
How are you, bro? Keep talking.
After everything that happened, people were hoping he'd get a second chance at life. Maybe he'd be able to turn things around, be a living testimony to how brutal the streets really are. But sadly, that wasn't the case. Louie passed away. Also, there are different reports about what exactly caused his death. Some people say he died from complications related to his gunshot wound. Others believe he may have overdosed, either from taking prescription pills or possibly a bad batch of something. Either way, O'Block Louie is gone. Another name added to the long list of lives lost to the streets. Let's dive in. Louie's story starts on the south side of Chicago, specifically on 62nd and Calumet. A lot of people assume he was born and raised in O'Block, but that's not actually true. He wasn't originally from there, but he definitely spent a lot of time in O'Block.
I'm from the south side. See, a lot of people, they really think I'm from the O, but I'm really from 62nd and Calumet.
Louie was one of 8 siblings, and from a young age, he was out in the streets. He couldn't even pinpoint exactly when he jumped off the porch because, in his words, he was always that kid, always hustling, always trying to survive in the environment he grew up in. His connection with King Von started when Von moved to O'Block, and from the moment they met, they clicked instantly. There was something about Von that stood out to Louie. The way he carried himself, the way he stayed true to who he was. Louie admired that about him.
I met King Von, goddammit, when he moved to O'Block.
What was it about him that made you, connect with him, click with him?
I mean, he just who he is, like.
But more than anything, he admired Von's generosity. A lot of people, especially in the streets, only look out for themselves. But Von wasn't like that. He did things for people just because he wanted to, not because he expected anything in return. Their bond grew strong, fast, and Louie didn't even really know why Von took such a liking to him.
He did a lot of stuff from the heart, and they ain't really care about if you pay it back or whatever the case may be. And he just took a liking to me. I don't know why he liked me, how he liked me, but only he'll be able to tell you.
Before he knew it, they were moving like brothers. When Von's music career started taking off, Louie was right there with him, living with him, traveling with him, and getting a front row seat to the fast life that came with fame. And when Von blew up, he really blew up. Suddenly, they were on the move all the time, city to city, tour to tour, enjoying every second of it. Money was flowing, the energy was crazy, and life was good. Then, everything changed. That one night in Atlanta was the night everything spiraled out of control. Louie remembers that night starting off like any other. Von was his usual self, and no one had any idea what was about to happen. Then, in a matter of seconds, everything turned into chaos. Louie ended up in a coma for 2 months after the shooting. When he finally woke up, he was told Von was gone. Processing that news was nearly impossible, especially while recovering from a severe head injury.
Once I came out and they told me like it was, I ain't make it to the funeral, so it was really kind of hard.
Louie describes the pain of hearing about Vaughn's death as something he still can't fully put into words, and that he doesn't really know why Vaughn decided to approach Quando Rondo that night and start swinging. It was just one of those things. Vaughn was Vaughn. He didn't overthink things, he just acted on how he felt in the moment. And nobody could have predicted how badly things would turn out.
Do you know what made King Von walk up on Quando Rondo and start punching him?
On November 5th, 2020, Vaughn was in Atlanta, getting ready for what was supposed to be just another night of turning up and performing. He had tweeted earlier that day, letting his fans know he was going to be at Club Opium. Everything seemed normal. But then, things took a dark turn. While he was at the club, Vaughn retweeted a lyric from Youngin Ace, hinting that somebody was about to get caught slipping. At the same time, Quando Rondo and his people were in town too, fresh from shooting a music video. After finishing his show at Opium, instead of heading back to his Airbnb to chill, Vaughn decided to make a detour. He went straight to the spot where Quando was hanging out.
He went over there to the after party, and then his driver and his homeboy let us know that we was redirected. We're thinking we're gonna go to the Airbnb or the hotel.
And when Vaughn and Quando's crews crossed paths, it didn't take long for things to pop off. It was all hands at first, but when Vaughn started getting the upper hand, things escalated fast. Gunshots rang out. In the chaos, Vaughn was hit 4 times. Security footage spread online almost instantly, showing every moment leading up to the tragedy. Vaughn was rushed to the hospital in critical condition and underwent emergency surgery. But tragically, he didn't make it. When the world woke up the next morning, the news was everywhere. King Von was gone.
Rapper King Von and his group were at Opium nightclub before making their way here to Monaco Hookah Lounge, then to the parking lot where chaos ensued.
For Louie, that night didn't just end in losing his best friend. He was caught up in the madness too. Right after Von got shot, Louie didn't hesitate. He chased down and fired back at Quando Rondo and Lil Tim. Louie got hit in the head and ended up in a coma for 2 months. And when he finally woke up, he wasn't just dealing with the trauma of losing Vaughn. He also had a whole case on his hands. The authorities charged him with a deadly weapon for his role in the shootout. Eventually, he bonded out, but he was still fighting the gun case up until his untimely death. Now, Vaughn's death didn't just shake up the rap game. It sparked a whole new war. He wasn't just a rapper. He was a respected figure in the Chicago drill scene and a feared name in the streets. His death wasn't something people were just going to let slide. For Quando Rondo, Lil Tim and their people, Vaughn's death put them in a dangerous position. Now they were targets. And that's exactly how the Emder for Hire case against OTF allegedly came into play. The night Lil Tim shot Vaughn, he essentially signed a death warrant for himself. People were expecting immediate payback. That's when the Slide for Vaughn movement started trending. Fans began taunting Lil Durk, demanding to know why he hadn't avenged Vaughn yet. It all stemmed from Vaughn's own lyrics. He had always rapped that if he died, his people would slide every day and raise the Emder rate.
And if I should die, I'm right. My go slide every day.
Now fans were holding Durk to that promise, and Durk also seemed to acknowledge it in his own way. He even threw a bold line into Pooh Shiesty's song Back in Blood. If the K-er ain't dead, you can't wear no R.I.P. shirt. People took it as Durk's way of saying he wasn't letting Vaughn's death go unanswered. And in an interview later on, Durk hinted that something had already been done.
I'm not triggered by the Slide for Vaughn comments. I don't know if people still say it.
For some reason, I just don't see them comments no more. You see them comments a lot?
They kind of chilled out a little bit.
I wonder why.
Quando Rondo too didn't do himself any favors after King Von's death. Instead of laying low and letting things die down, he did the complete opposite. He kept provoking Vaughn's people, dropping diss tracks, and making it clear that he wasn't afraid of the backlash. And eventually, they did. On May 1st, after performing in Waycross, Georgia, Quando got caught slipping. He and his team made a stop at a Circle K gas station in the nearby town of Blackshear, just 11 minutes away. Around 3:20 a.m., while Quando and his entourage were parked in the gas station lot, someone began to open fire from across the street. Reports indicate that the barrage was intense, with over 100 bullets fired at Quando and his crew. At least one person was hit during the shooting, sustaining a gunshot wound to the hand and ending up in the hospital. Quando, however, managed to flee the scene before authorities arrived. As news spread, bystanders at the scene began to document the aftermath, posting videos of the crime scene to social media. In one widely shared clip, a woman can be heard narrating the situation, telling viewers that they were at the scene of the Quando Rondo shooting.
Oh my God, it is Quando, y'all. It's got to be. They talking about it was the rapper that performed at the Vibe at the club. They talking about it was Quando.
She noted that the gunfire had been so loud that people down the street had heard it clearly, even walking up to bullet markers left by authorities to indicate where shell casings were found.
Look at all them bullets. Yeah, they got down picking up bullets.
Fast forward to August 2022, it appeared Dirk had allegedly taken action once again, this time resulting in the death of Quando's friend Lil Pob. It was August 18th, and Quando Rondo had just landed in LA with his crew, which included his sister and his cousin Lil Pob. After learning Quando's whereabouts, it's said that Dirk's people moved fast. Flights, rental cars, private jets, everything was booked urgently, as OTF members rushed to LA. The urgency wasn't random either. Reports say that a bounty had been placed on Quando's head, allegedly by a co-conspirator 1, the main person financing this operation. Many speculate that co-conspirator 1 is actually Lil Durk, given his high rank and resources in OTF. It's his label, his credit cards that were reportedly used for booking all of this. Flights, hotels, rental cars. The setup seemed all too organized, with multiple people involved in what looks like a revenge mission.
We believe that co-conspirator 1 seems to be aiming at somebody who's a boss within the OTF organization that could call that could put money up and also promise music opportunities. Aiming at someone who would be Dirk or could be Dirk's brother who passed. But the only person living would be Dirk. It could be Dirk.
Once OTF landed in LA, they moved like clockwork. They got what they needed. Cars, hotels, ski masks, firearms. They even communicated using coded messages to avoid suspicion. Eventually, they all gathered near Quando's hotel, knowing his entire schedule, even when and where he'd be heading next. On the day of the ambush, Quando was driving a black Escalade, with OTF members tailing him in a white BMW. They tracked him discreetly, trailing his every move. It's said that Quando wasn't even aware he was being followed. When they finally caught up with him at a gas station, they wasted no time. OTF's crew parked nearby, hopped out, and began firing. The tragic part is, Quando himself was inside the vehicle. But his cousin Lil Pob was outside when the shots rang out. Pob was hit, but Quando was fortunate enough to make it through unharmed. However, their actual target, Quando, escaped without a scratch while his cousin didn't survive. And now Lil Durk is sitting behind bars, allegedly connected to the shooting. It's wild to think about how one night ended up changing so many lives. Vaughn's death set off a chain reaction that affected everyone tied to him, directly or indirectly. This whole situation just shows the dark reality of street life.